Once upon a time, a wealthy and extravagant baron lived in the fictional land of Grogswig. He was known throughout the land for his lavish parties, luxurious lifestyle, and his boundless wealth. The Baron of Grogswig was envied by many and respected by few. Despite his enormous fortune, he was deeply unhappy and felt a profound sense of loneliness. As the Baron walked through the streets of Grogswig, he overheard some of the townspeople talking about him.
"Have you seen the Baron's latest carriage?"
said one.
"I heard he spent a fortune on it,"
replied another. The Baron couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction at the envy his wealth had created. Little did he know, it would not bring him the happiness he so desperately craved. One day, as he was sitting alone in his grand hall, feeling particularly melancholy, he received an unexpected visitor. It was a young woman, whose beauty and grace captivated the Baron. She introduced herself as Miss Lillerton, and the Baron was immediately smitten with her. He showered her with gifts and attention, and before long, they were married in a grand ceremony. At first, the Baron was overjoyed with his beautiful wife, and he lavished her with even more riches and gifts than before. However, he soon noticed that she was not as pleased with his gifts as he had expected her to be. In fact, she seemed quite unhappy and dissatisfied. One evening, the Baron presented his wife with a stunning diamond necklace, expecting her to be thrilled with his latest gift. But instead of expressing gratitude, his wife looked at him with a frown and said,
"Oh, Charles, why must you always try to impress me with your wealth? Can't you see that it's not the material possessions that make me happy?"
Taken aback by her words, the Baron asked,
"What do you mean, my dear? I only want to make you happy."
She replied,
"But you're not making me happy. You're only making me feel like a prisoner in this gilded cage. I long for something more than just material possessions. I want to feel loved and appreciated for who I am, not what I can give you in return."
The Baron of Grogswig tried to please his wife in every possible way, but nothing seemed to satisfy her. She was unhappy and dissatisfied with his gifts and riches. He even tried to entertain her with extravagant parties, but she still remained unhappy. One day, the Baron decided to take matters into his own hands and asked his wife what was wrong. She revealed that she was deeply unhappy because she felt lonely and isolated in the grand castle where they lived. Miss Lillerton explained that she was not interested in his wealth or material possessions.
"My dear,"
said the Baron, in his most insinuating tones,
"you are not happy. What can I do to make you happy?"
"Nothing,"
replied his wife.
"Nothing?"
cried the Baron.
"Nothing. My angel."
"Nothing,"
repeated the lady.
"You are very kind, very good, very affectionate, but you can't make me happy."
"Can't make you happy?"
exclaimed the Baron, in astonishment.
"What can make you happy? Speak."
She simply wanted his love and attention. She urged him to spend more time with her, to talk to her, and to listen to her. She replied,
"You have given me everything I could possibly want, but I am still not happy."
The Baron was taken aback by her answer and didn't know how to respond. He had never considered that his wealth and extravagance were not enough to make him happy, or to make those around him happy. He realized he had been so caught up in his wealth and power that he had forgotten the true value of human connection and love. The Baron could not understand what was wrong. He had given her everything she could possibly want, yet she still seemed unhappy. One day, he confronted her and demanded to know what was troubling her. Baron was shocked to hear this, as he had never felt lonely in his entire life. He realized that all of his wealth and material possessions had not brought him the happiness he had longed for. He then decided to travel the world in search of happiness and to find the true meaning of life. As the Baron traveled from place to place, he encountered many different people and experiences. He visited exotic places and met fascinating individuals, but despite all of these new experiences, he still felt an emptiness inside. One day, the Baron found himself in a small village, nestled in the foothills of a great mountain range. The village was humble and poor, but the people who lived there were happy and content. One evening, the Baron stumbled upon a small cottage on the outskirts of the village. As he approached, he saw a family gathered around a small fire, eating a simple meal. The Baron was struck by their warmth and hospitality, and he soon found himself sitting amongst them, sharing stories and laughter. The family had very little in terms of material possessions, but they had each other and were content with their simple life. The Baron was amazed at how happy they seemed, despite their lack of wealth and luxury. As the night drew to a close, the Baron thanked the family for their hospitality and bid them good night. As he walked back to his lodgings, he pondered over what he had witnessed. He realized that happiness was not found in material possessions or wealth, but in the love and relationships we share with others. The next morning, the Baron continued on his journey, but with a newfound understanding of what true happiness was. He began to focus less on his material possessions and more on the people around him, cherishing the relationships he had and cultivating new ones along the way. Happiness was not something that could be bought with wealth or material possessions. After several years of traveling, the Baron returned home to Grogswig, a changed man. No longer interested in his extravagant lifestyle, but instead dedicated to living a simple and happy life with those he loved. He sold his grand castle and donated his wealth to those in need. He lived a simple life, surrounded by loved ones and the beauty of nature. And he was finally happy, realizing that true wealth and happiness came from within, not from material possessions. From that day forward, the Baron of Grogswig lived a contented life, surrounded by loved ones and no longer haunted by the loneliness that had once consumed him. The Baron's newfound generosity and kindness earned him the respect and admiration of his people. They no longer envied him for his wealth, but instead, they looked up to him as a role model and leader. After the Baron's life-changing experience, he realized the importance of family and the joy that it brings. He began to spend more time with his wife, and they grew closer than ever before. They traveled together and enjoyed each other's company, cherishing every moment they spent together. He began to spend more time with his wife and to show her the attention and affection she deserved. The Baron also began to appreciate the value of his servants and treated them with more respect and kindness. He realized that they were more than just employees, they were like family. And so, the Baron of Grogswig learned a valuable lesson about the true nature of happiness and lived the rest of his life in contentment and joy. Many people in Grogswig aspired to be like him, and he was seen as a symbol of success and wealth. After several years of marriage, the Baron's wife became pregnant. They were both overjoyed at the prospect of starting a family, and the Baron was excited to become a father. As the months passed, the Baron's wife grew larger and larger, and they both eagerly awaited the arrival of their child. Finally, one day, the Baron's wife went into labor, and after several hours of labor pains, she gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. The Baron was overjoyed with the arrival of his daughter and held her tenderly in his arms. They named her Giselle. As Giselle grew up, the Baron spent every moment he could with her, watching her grow and learn. He would take her on trips to nearby towns and introduce her to new experiences and cultures. Giselle was a curious and intelligent child, and the Baron was proud of her for always asking questions and seeking knowledge. He taught her the importance of family, love, and kindness. They would take long walks in the gardens, and the Baron would point out the flowers and the birds and teach her the names. The Baron wanted Giselle to understand that happiness doesn't come from material possessions but from the love and joy that family brings. He wanted her to appreciate the simple things in life, like spending time with loved ones and enjoying the beauty of nature. As Giselle grew older, the Baron continued to teach her these lessons, and he was proud to see her grow into a kind and compassionate young woman. He knew that he had succeeded in passing on his values to his daughter, and that she would carry them with her throughout her life. The Baron loved spending time with his daughter, Giselle, and watching her grow. He would take her on walks through the gardens, and show her the beauty of nature. He would also read to her and teach her about the history and the importance of education. As Giselle grew older, the Baron's love for her only grew stronger. The Baron also made sure to instill in Giselle the importance of kindness and compassion. He taught her to always be respectful and considerate of others, no matter their social status or background. The arrival of Giselle brought even more happiness and love to the Baron's life. He knew that she was the most precious gift he had ever received, and he was grateful for her every day. As the years went by, the Baron continued to live a happy and fulfilling life. He knew that his journey of self-discovery had taught him the most valuable lesson of all. That true happiness comes from the love of family and the kindness of others.